Motion to approve the agenda, please.
So offered.
Second.
By Mike, seconded by Gary. We approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. To the consent agenda, you have a copy of the minutes of July 18th, 2022, and we have the final reading of ordinance number 870, which is an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Clear Lake, Iowa, 2003, by amending various code sections from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. parking and UTVs/ATVs, and this is the third and final reading. We also have approval of bills and claims, of which you have a copy, and we do not have any license permits for this meeting. Motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Mike, that we approve the consent agenda, and we'll do a roll call because of ordinance number 870 in the final reading here. Roll call. Mike?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
And Bennett?
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0, and the consent agenda is approved, and ordinance number 870 is duly adopted. Now is the time and place for any citizen in the audience who wish to address the council on any items not on the agenda. Please approach the podium, state your name first and last, and give your address so the clerk can properly enter it in the minutes. This is not a discussion time nor a question and answer time, but it is an opportunity for you to state your issue or concern while the council listens. Not appearing, we'll move on to unfinished business, of which we have none. We'll go to number 6, new business A, alley right-of-way vacation and sale, Reese, et cetera. Review of request, recommendation from Planning and Zoning Commission. Scott Flory. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you, Mayor. I got to call the mayor out on it. It's et al., et cetera. That's my Latin for the evening and others. So picked that up in college, I think. So it served me well. So as the mayor indicated, this is the alley vacation project that we've been talking about for a few meetings now. So look at the items in your packet. Start out with the first white sheet there in the packet. Following the green sheet is a resolution authorizing the vacation and sale of certain undeveloped alley right-of-way in the city. Then on the back side of that, sort of a series of 3 letters from the adjacent property owners who would ultimately be purchasing this soon-to-be vacated right-of-way from the city. So the first letter is from Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, followed by Reese, and then followed by Finnegan. So again, we've talked about this several meetings. The backside of that is also a map that we've included just for identification of the right-of-way. You're well versed on that location, of course. It is west of South 15th Street, north of 2nd Avenue North, south of Main Avenue, just north of where the soon-to-be bid, Everybody Plays Playground Park and Playground project to be constructed there, the site of the former county maintenance shed. So you can see graphically who gets what from the alley there. The 16 by 75 foot parcel would be quitclaim deeded to Mr. and Mrs. Reese. The 10 by 75 foot parcel would be deeded to Mr. and Mrs. Finnegan. And last but not least, the 6 foot by 75 foot would be deeded to Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. So again, at the July 18th council meeting, the council had set the date for the public hearing on this. It also referred the matter to the Planning and Zoning Commission for its review and recommendation at its next upcoming meeting, which happened to be July 26th. We also published notice in the newspaper on July 21st indicating that there would be a public hearing this evening here at the council chambers, August 1st, 6 p.m. And following the hearing, then the council can take action to approve the vacation and sale of the undeveloped right-of-way. Should also mention it is for the proposed purchase price is $1.50 per square foot, so total is about $3,600 for this, and that's sort of been our standard price for undeveloped vacated right-of-way that we have disposed of our interest of in the past. So I just mentioned also there are no city utilities there, and most likely the space will be used as open space for the residents. So I don't have anything further. I did not receive any written communication prior to the hearing. I know at least one of the property owners is out of town on vacation, but they appreciate the council's initiative on this matter.
Council, any questions for Scott?
One quick comment. My high school Latin teachers, Patrick Duffy and Leo Stottleman, would be very proud of your use of keeping the classics alive there.
Carpe diem.
Thank you, Scott. Now is the time and place for the public hearing with regard to the alley right-of-way vacation and sale. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address that particular issue? Please approach the podium, state your name first and last so the clerk can properly enter into minutes. None appearing, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing on the alley right-of-way vacation.
So offered.
Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Bennett, that we close the public hearing with regard to the alley right-of-way vacation. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Is there any further discussion on that particular issue, council? None appearing, I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2251. This is a resolution authorizing the vacation and sale of certain undeveloped alley right-of-way in the city of Clear Lake, Iowa. Motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Gary, second by
Second.
Bennett, that we approve Resolution 2251. Is there any discussion? Roll call, Gary,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
and Mike.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. And Resolution 2251 is duly adopted. 6B, rezoning proposal 2605 South Shore Drive, Lake Time RV Sanctuary, review a request and recommendation from P&Z. Scott Flory.
Thanks, Mayor, Council. The yellow sheets in your packet start out this particular agenda item. The first yellow sheet is a copy of the public notice that was published in the newspaper on July 21st, indicating that tonight would be the time and the place for a public hearing on the rezoning proposal. The next page is also yellow, as a resolution denying a request to amend the official zoning map of the city for property located at 2605 South Shore Drive. Continuing on with the yellow sheets, letter from the petitioner, signed by Wayne Schofeld, who I believe is their engineer, indicating that on behalf of AKK Investment Properties that they would like to withdraw their request for said rezoning. And then continue on, just the white sheet is just a kind of a location map that shows the area of the proposed Lake Time RV Sanctuary site, and then also how they had proposed to lay out some RV campers on that particular site. So as we talked about at a previous council meeting, the city had received a petition to rezone property locally known as 2605 South Shore Drive. Property is currently zoned RS5, which is low-density residential. The request was to rezone that to CI1, intensive commercial. That would enable the development of a future RV campground park at that location, and that's one of the uses that's identified in that particular zoning district as a permitted use. So property, of course, consists of almost 7.5 acres of land located just south of 26th Avenue South and west of South Shore Drive. At your meeting on July 18th, the council had referred this request to the Planning and Zoning Commission for its review and consideration, and that took place at their regular scheduled meeting this past Tuesday, July 26th. Additionally, again, the council published that notice in the Clear Lake Mayor Reporter on July 21st and established tonight as the date, time, place for a public hearing on that proposal. So again, like with the previous matter, following the public hearing, then the council will be in position to act on that resolution to affirm the Planning Commission recommendation and deny the petition. So at the Planning and Zoning Commission at the meeting on July 26th, they did hold the public hearing on that proposal. Her testimony and statements were received from the public. The commission then did vote unanimously to recommend denial of the petition to rezone the parcel to CI1. And as I mentioned, following that decision of the Planning Commission, then the applicant did request to withdraw that rezoning petition. However, the council still is in the position of needing to conduct the public hearing that you previously had established and published notice of, and then just to continue with the record to act on that resolution that would affirm the Planning Commission recommendation and deny that petition for rezoning. So I have not received anything further from public on that, so I don't have any further comments unless anyone has any questions.
Council, any questions for Scott? Thank you, Scott. Now is the time and place for the public hearing with regard to the rezoning proposal for 2605 South Shore Drive, Lake Time RV Sanctuary. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to address that issue, please approach the podium, state your name first and last, and give your address so the clerk can properly enter into the minutes. And please, Scott, do we need to have them state whether they are for or against at this time? And please state right up front if you are for or against this particular rezoning. Whoever is first, just simply step up. Please do not stand in line, but just come up and give each person here your utmost attention and respect, please. Thank you. Good evening.
My name is Diane Wills, Diane Wills. I live at 321 26th Avenue South. And I am for what the planning and zoning recommended, retain the current zoning of RS5. There were a few things that were turned in to Mike Ritter that we were under the impression that they would go to Mr. Flory and then on to you. Our neighborhood did put together a petition that was signed by, I believe, over 70% of the people within the 200 feet. And then also over 70% of the people that live right adjacent to the property that's under consideration. So I have that petition on my iPad if they need it. They have it, okay. And then we had turned in some letters. I do strongly object to the Lake Time RV sanctuary idea and the rezoning change that would be needed for development of the commercial RV park in our quiet residential neighborhood. The RV park would be directly adjacent to our backyard, so it would disrupt the quiet enjoyment of our property. When we purchased our home in 1992, we did so based on the quiet residential neighborhood. We did not want nor choose to live in or near a commercial area. That was a major factor in selecting our home in Clear Lake. On busy summer weekends, we get some overflow parking from people enjoying the car cruise around the lake or those who want to walk down to Clear Lake State Park. We can't imagine how much daily overflow parking would result from the development of a commercial RV park. And it's our understanding that the city of Clear Lake needs single-family homes. So developing the property at 2605 South Shore Drive according to its current zoning of RS5, low-density, single-family residential, would meet those needs. Maintaining the current zoning would be compatible with adjacent land use and further the objectives of the comprehensive development plan for the city of Clear Lake. Near the end of the planning and zoning meeting, the former mayor, Kirk Kraft, I believe, spoke about spot zoning and felt that the change would be in spot zoning. As you probably know, spot zoning is the process of singling out a parcel of land for a use classification totally different from that of the surrounding area for the benefit of the owner of such property and to the detriment of other property owners. We believe rezoning the 3 parcels falls within the definition of spot zoning. And spot zoning is the antithesis of plan zoning. Would rezoning to CI1, intensive commercial, be consistent with the policies, the long-term planning objectives, and land use designations set forth in the 2004 Clear Lake Comprehensive Land Use Plan? Zoning regulations have been adopted by the city of Clear Lake to provide for harmonious development of the city and its environs. for the integration of new subdivision streets with other existing planned streets, for adequate open space for traffic, recreation, light, and air, and for the distribution of population and traffic in a manner which will tend to create conditions favorable to health, safety, convenience, and prosperity. So please consider our concerns and recommend that the property at 2605 South Shore Drive retain its current zoning of RS5, low-density, single-family residential, now and into the future. Please do not spot zone. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you. Welcome.
My name's Mike Wills, W-I-L-L-S, and I live at 321 26th Avenue South. And I have a couple of letters from our neighbors who couldn't be here, but they wanted to, make a comment about the rezoning. So this is from Kim Harrison and Denise Harrison, and they live at 316 26th Avenue South. To whom it may concern, in response to the possible rezoning of 2605 South Shore Drive from RS5 to CI1, we would desire to see the zoning left at RS5. We believe an intensive commercial zone would have a negative impact on the value of our home, which is located at 316 26th Avenue South. Again, we are in opposition to this possible rezoning. Thank you, Kim Harrison, Denise Harrison. And then I have one from Mary Beach, and she lives at 2601 South Shore Drive. To whom it may concern, I, Mary Beach, live on the corner of South Shore Drive and 26th Avenue South. My neighbor, Diane Wills, is so kind to convey this letter to our city council for consideration of the proposed RV park to be established next to my residence. I say no to this action. I do not want the noise and extra traffic. My driveway faces South Shore Drive, which at the time is a challenge to enter. Extra traffic will be unsafe. Rezoning is not needed unless it's beneficial to all concerned. For your records, I vote no. An RV park is not wanted. Respectfully, Mary Beach. Thank you. And I'm against too. So.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. I didn't bring my letters, so I would like to read it off of my phone, if that's okay. My name is Cynthia Hesley. My last name is Hesley, and I live at 309 26th Avenue South, and I am against the rezoning. We bought our property about a year and a half ago, knowing that this area was zoned as a low-density residential. I believe that the owners, when they bought the property, also knew that it was zoned at a low-density residential. And about a year ago, we had somebody else that was interested in making this into a campground that before they bought, they went around and asked people in I believe it was a letter, they sent it to our homes and asked us how we felt about it. And the majority of the property owners' feelings were of disapproval to rezone. I believe that the rezoning would have a very negative impact on this area. The particular drawing that they show has over 50 trailers in this area with only one way in and one way out. With the 50 trailers would come 50 golf carts, ATVs, boats, vehicles pulling boat trailers, and all of this on a daily basis, changing our neighborhood and our quality of life, adding to ground, air, and noise pollution, and lowering our property values. And I feel that if this is rezoned, it'll be exactly as the zoning implies, an intensive commercial area. So I disapprove of the zoning change, and I hope you'll make your decision from the homeowners who want to keep this neighborhood inviting and keep it as a low-density residential. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to the council on this particular issue? Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Mike Cooley, Cooley. I live at 2607 South Lakeview Drive, right on the corner of 26th Avenue South and South Lakeview. We built a new home there about 5 years ago. My wife and I have been weekenders here since 1987. We had an old cabin that Madeline Mullen rented to us, and we knew that when I retired, we were going to tear the cabin down, build a home, and move to Clear Lake. We love this town. It's been our second town for a long time. We love that neighborhood. We've been neighbors there for a long time. And I'd like to indulge you with just one thing here. How many of you behind me are here for this particular reason and are opposed to that zoning request? Thank you. I'm not going to take a lot of your time repeating a lot of the issues, concerns that this group of people have had. I want to express my gratitude for the opportunity to speak to the Zoning Board Commission. They were very open and listened to a lot of people speak last week. And I'd like to thank you, the council, for the same opportunity in this public hearing. I'm obviously opposed to the rezoning, and I support the recommendation from the zoning commission. Thank you.
Thank you. But you're for the cyclones, right?
Two of us in here.
Aren't we all, Mayor?
There's three Rickons back there.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak to council? None appearing. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Gary, that we close the public hearing with regard to the RV park on, what is that address, guys? 2605 South Shore Drive. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. And now, council, is there any discussion before we bring up Resolution 2252?
Go ahead, Mike.
I'd just like to make one comment. I taught social studies for over 40 years, and I'm really excited about the turnout here tonight. This is grassroots democracy, and this is the opportunity to speak on an issue, and it's great to see people show up and take an interest. Now, I know many of you have an emotional tie to this thing, and I can tell you, I counted people out there when I first walked in, and there's basically about 20 extra people here over our average meeting. So, yeah, if you take that count, we usually have about 3 or 4 people here out there in fan land. But and most of the things we do is pretty mundane. But, you know, I think you're going to find in a few moments that the process worked. I mean, and it's kind of too bad that on many levels of our government, we can't get a little more citizen input. We might get a more honest reflection of what our society and our citizenry would really like to happen. But here at the local level, we have that opportunity, and I thank you once again for being here. I thank you for taking the time to research this. I had a couple of conversations with Mrs. Willis, and yeah, they were very productive ones. I hope I did a nice job in trying to explain my end of things and what was going to happen. But once again, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to speak to this issue, and I would also like to thank everyone for coming and spending time at these meetings and expressing your opinions. I think that's wonderful. I also would like to thank our Planning and Zoning Commission and its chairman, Mark Bali, for reviewing this proposal for us. Of course, we as a council had referred this matter to the Planning and Zoning Committee in order to give this matter a full and fair public hearing for all of the interested parties, even though the petitioners failed to meet the necessary signature requirement in the Iowa Code for such a hearing. We felt that it was important to honor the deeper principle of citizens having the opportunity to petition their government and to speak freely on a potential zoning change. And I want to again thank the Planning and Zoning Commission and its chairman, Mark Bali, for conducting a full and fair and really excellent hearing and review of this matter. Now, I did have the opportunity to attend that meeting and was glad to see many members of the neighborhood there and 2 of the 3 owners of the property present, and they have the opportunity to present their views as well on the potential rezoning of the property. There was overwhelming opposition to changing the zoning from its current designation of RS5, which is low-density single-family residential, by members of the neighborhood, and the Planning and Zoning Committee decided to unanimously deny the application to change it. And I want to express my full support for that decision. The current zoning is there for a good reason and is based upon our comprehensive plan, and the current neighborhood is a wonderful place to live and is populated with single-family homes, which is still a significant need in our community. So for these reasons and the fact that we generously granted a review on this matter to the Planning and Zoning Commission, even though we were not required to because the petitioner had failed to meet the signature requirements, I would not support granting any further reviews of changing this zoning classification in the future on this property without a petitioner achieving the necessary signature requirements. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Mayor.
Anyone else? Thank you. Okay, council, I entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2252, which is a resolution denying a request to amend the official zoning map of the city of Clear Lake, Iowa for property located at 2605 South Shore Drive. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Mike, that we approve Resolution 2252, which is denying the request to amend the official zoning map for property located at 2605 South Shore Drive. Is there any further discussion? Roll call. Bennett,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and Gary.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0, and Resolution 2252 is now duly adopted, which means that we have denied the request to amend the official zoning map of the city of Clear Lake, Iowa for property located at 2605 South Shore Drive. If you folks would like to leave right now and not go through such a unexciting meeting as we have here, you're welcome to. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we'll move to 6C, purchase of a new Class A pumper fire apparatus. Intro, Creighton Schmidt, Director of Finance and Administrative Services. Welcome, Creighton.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Sorry, Doug, I thought they were all here for your new fire truck. At the June 20th regular city council meeting, the council authorized the release of a request for proposals for the purchase of a new Class A fire pump apparatus. This will replace two of our current apparatuses, the Engine 4, which is a 1989 unit, and Engine 1, which is a 1994 unit. So we'll be purchasing one to replace the two engines there. One of the unique aspects now with supply chain is we have to get out in front of a lot of things we're ordering. So not just this apparatus, but we're doing it in Public Works. We're doing it with a few of our other projects. So we took the bids on this one for delivery of a truck in December timeframe of 2023. So we're about 18 months out of this apparatus actually being delivered. That being said, the city has been planning for this purchase for a few years now. At the end of fiscal year 23, so the fiscal year we just started, we'll have $490,000 in a reserve towards this truck. We had estimated that it would cost roughly $650,000. You'll see the bid came in at $729,000. So that's the other aspect of the economy right now is inflation. I'll invite Doug up here and he will go through the bid process and where we landed.
Welcome, Doug.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As I discussed at the previous council meeting when we requested the opportunity to send out the RFPs, we had communicated with 7 different vendors. After you allowed us to send those specs out, we only received 1 bid back. As I mentioned in the cover letter, that's incredibly disappointing to us, based on the fact that all these vendors expressed considerable interest in this project. One of the things we've discovered is all of the vendors want to use their title-specific specifications and are not real eager to bid specifications that don't lock them in to the award of a contract. Unfortunately, we chose to create specs that were fairly generic and picked options from all the vendors to include in our specs to send those out. The communication we've had from those vendors said their exception list would be longer than their actual bid list. So they chose not to bid. Toyne Fire Apparatus from Breda was the only company that did submit a bid. And we're thankful for that, at least. We didn't really want to go through another process like this again, trying to create specifications that were far more generic than what we felt we had created in the first place. As Creighton mentioned, the prices, after we received the bid, which was higher than what we had anticipated, we questioned why. Why is the bid coming back so much higher than what we believed it should have been? One of the things we found out is the pricing index for stainless steel has increased 50% since the first of the year. Similar metals like aluminum are in the same ballpark. The lead time for component delivery, as Creighton mentioned, has increased from 2 or 3 years when we purchased the last truck to 2 or 3 months for some of these things. So the delivery time window is exponentially increased as well. So instead of a 10 to 14-month delivery, we're looking at a 18-month delivery window. One of the big differences that we saw too in talking with the vendors, The average increase in sale price for apparatus is about 8% per year. And the difference this year is really going back to the materials and the component pricing and delivery frames. 2017, when we bought our last pumper, that pricing index has gone up 106%. So for Toynes, for example, to hold their price down less than what we would anticipate, based on those numbers, is pretty remarkable. So the last 6 months, their price has gone up the same amount as it had the preceding 5 years. So that's the economy we're living in today. So as Creighton mentioned, the bids included several prepayment options. If we were to pay at contract signing certain percentages of the total of contract award, we would reduce that total contract price down. So as Creighton mentioned, the initial price for payment at the end was $728,010. If we were to pay, for example, 75% down when we sign the contract, we would reduce that by $18,526 for a total of $710,483. That's roughly 8.5%, 9% over what we had initially budgeted. So our recommendation is to go ahead and do this now. The fear would be the lead times are going to get longer and the price will even be more if we were to delay this even another 6 months.
So Doug, the two vehicles, when we get the new truck, we're going to keep the two pumpers around for about 5-6 months, make sure everything's good.
I think my recommendation would be to sell the 1994 immediately.
Well, that's where I was going. The trade value could offset some of that as well.
Yeah, the sale value, yeah. And the last time we bought a truck in 2017, we sold one of our old trucks. Fire company in Montana bought that truck. And at that time, the city received $20,000 for it. So I would think with the current sale prices of used apparatus, we would do even better with these two. So the first truck we would sell immediately upon receiving the new one, and about 6 months later sell the second one.
We could be pretty close to the budget amount
Right,
after the sale.
right, exactly. Other questions or comments?
Yes, that'd pretty much be a wash then.
Pretty close.
Yeah. Council Lee, questions for Chief?
And not necessarily for the chief, but, my question in my mind. We're committed to doing this, and it's better to do it now than wait till later when it's going to be even more expensive. And I guess my question would be to Scott and or Creighton, are we going to have the money available to save the money by paying X amount of dollars down now, or is that off the table? And well, I kind of figured that, but so is that the smart way to go?
I think so. Yeah, I think as Doug framed it, the 75% prepayment incentive would be the best strategy.
Yeah, so.
We're not making much money on those funds.
You think?
I think it's about 0.001%.
No, I figured that, but I guess that's where I'm going with my comments. Whatever we need to do with this, do it now and move forward.
So Doug, everything will be locked down tonight, price-wise, delivery.
Yes.
That could change.
Tomorrow morning, if you okay this, I'll send them the contract, the signed contract, with all the information. Here's a prepayment, and then talk with Creighton about like an electronic fund transfer for that prepayment amount.
Sure. Then we just have to worry about delivery time.
Correct. Right. And if it's 19 or 20 months, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well, materials will judge that and
Right.
control that and all that. I see no problem here. Let's do it.
Okay. All right, council, thanks, Doug. I entertain a motion to approve a bid and award a contract to Toyne Fire Apparatus of Breda, Iowa, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Scott, in the amount of $710,483.
Yes, that's correct.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Mike, that we approve the bid and award the contract to Toyne Fire Apparatus with regard to the Class A pumper fire apparatus that we will acquire. Is there any discussion?
I'd just like to mention, my wife's always very excited when I come home and tell her I bought her a new fire truck or a new road grader or some of these exciting things, so she'll be happy tonight.
Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thanks. Thank you, Steve. Thanks, guys, for being here. 6D, 2022 Street Resurfacing Project Division 1 PCC Improvements, or Mr. Flory.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Mr. Petersburg could not be here tonight. He's on vacation. Took his 3 kids up camping somewhere. I said, well, that doesn't sound like a vacation to me. It's a vacation when you leave the kids at home. But they're young, so having a good time, I guess. So I'm kind of covering his recommendation here. So these yellow sheets at the back of the agenda reflect this item, the 2022 street resurfacing project. If you recall, we had talked about breaking this project down into 2 phases. So the overall project, of course, involves significant asphalt resurfacing of a number of blocks of streets here in the community. We broke that down into 2 divisions. Division 1 being the PCC work that was going to be done, which would be the street patching, as well as quite a bit of curb and gutter replacement and ADA sidewalk ramp improvements. So that was going to be phase 1. So we set the date for the bid letting on that, and then we're going to come back later and bid phase 2, or division 2, which would be the asphalt improvement. So we did hold the bid letting that we had previously set, and of course we also are going to have a public hearing tonight on the plans and specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for this project. So we did have the bid letting here at City Hall on July 27th here for Division 1 for this project, the PCC improvements. We did only receive 1 bid on the project, that being from Larry Elwood at Mason City. That was base bid amount was 60% above what the engineer's estimate of the probable cost of construction was, so that was it's a big number. So Jason's estimate was $332,328, and Elwood's bid was $533,877. If you remember, we had an alternate bid in that division as well for the 700 block of Buddy Holly Place Alley improvement project, that being the alley between Buddy Holly Place and North 3rd Street, just north of 7th Avenue North and south of 8th Avenue North. So the estimate for that PCC project was $58,617. And Elwood bid was 54% above that, so $90,453. So therefore, the recommendation from the engineer is to reject the bids, and then we would rebid this project in January of 2023. We think that would be a much better time for contractors to be more interested in the project. In conversations with some of the contractors, their plates just simply too full at this time, so that's why there was a lack of interest in bidding it. And of course, the bid was so much higher than what the estimate was. Likewise, for Division 2, that would also be let for bid at the same time, the HMA improvements, and that would have, the PCC would have a completion date prior to Memorial Day, and then Division 2, the HMA street resurfacing, would have a completion date probably in August of 2023. So I don't have anything further prior to the public hearing. I did not receive any written comments from the public regarding the matters. Happy to answer any questions.
Council, any questions for Scott? Thank you, Scott. Now is the time and place for the public hearing with regard to the 2022 Street Resurfacing Project Division 1, which is PCC improvements. Anyone in the audience wishes to address that, please approach the podium. State your name first and last and give your street address so the clerk can properly enter in the minutes. None appearing, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Mike, that we close the public hearing with regard to the 2022 street resurfacing project, which is the PCC improvements. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. And now I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2253, which is a resolution that will approve the plans, specs, form of contract, and the estimate of cost with respect to the Division 1 PCC improvements.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Mike, that we approve Resolution 2253. Is there any discussion? Mike?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Resolution 2253 is duly adopted by 3-0. Thank you. And now entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2254, a resolution rejecting bids for the 2022 street resurfacing project, Division 1 PCC improvements. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Mike, that we reject the bids for the 2022 street resurfacing project on the PCC. Is there any discussion? Gary?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
And Mike?
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. 6E, 700 block Buddy Holly Place HMA Alley Reconstruction Project. Mr. Flores.
Thanks again, Mayor. Just like with the last project at the council meeting on July 5th, we set the date for a bid letting on this project, same time, July 27th, 11 o'clock here. City Hall also established August 1st as the date for the public hearing on the plan specification form of contract for the 700 block of Buddy Holly Place HMA Alley Improvement Project. So talked about this one a little bit as a bid alternate on the last item, but this particular bid item would be, again, the same alley, but reconstructed as a hot mix asphalt project. Again, we bid the PCC separately as part of Division 1 on the last project, so this was bidding it with an alternate pavement design as hot mix asphalt. It does also include some limited storm sewer improvements, so HMA paving, and then down at the approaches, those would be PCC approaches at the intersections to the street. So again, we had the bid letting on the 27th, 11 o'clock. On this one, we received no bids. So there will not be any action required following the public hearing. So like I mentioned with the last project, we'll also go ahead and relet this as an alternate bid with HMA paving. At the same time, we let it as a part of the PCC project. So still have the opportunity in January, hopefully there's more interest then, to be able to decide whether or not you want to do this in PCC paving or HMA paving. So, and then again, that would be completed. If it does go HMA, that would be completed in conjunction with the broader street resurfacing improvements, so prior to probably August of 2023. So, and I don't have any more on that one. I likewise did not receive any written comments prior to the hearing.
Council, any questions? Thank you, Scott. Now is the time and place for the public hearing with regard to 700 block Buddy Holly Place HMA Alley Reconstruction Project. No one appearing. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So offered.
Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Bennett, that we close the public hearing in regard to the 700 block Buddy Holly Place HMA Alley Reconstruction Project. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2255, a resolution approving plans and specs, form of contract, and estimate of cost.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Bennett, that we approve Resolution 2255. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Bennett,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and Gary.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0. Resolution 2255 is duly adopted. Chief? Welcome, Pete.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. If you remember, a couple weeks ago or a couple meetings ago, you approved the car cruise road closures for that event, which is coming up Friday. With your approval, we'd like to change that route just a tad. Because of the Main Street or the Main Avenue construction, they have to take an alternate route to get to South Shore Drive. And they're coming down 7th Ave North, which is pretty much a thoroughfare road except for the stoplights at South 8th or North 8th that we will control. The route had them going down to North Lakeview to come out to Lakeview to Main to South Shore, and we would not like to have them take those turns. We want them just to come down North Shore from 4th Ave North to get them around the city park and then onto South Shore Drive. I was talking with Jeremy before the meeting. We'll probably do a little bit of some road closures on 1st Ave North, sort of what we do for events to kind of shut that lower U down between North Shore and South Shore so the cars can get around that park area more efficiently and safely. And then we will probably close 4th Ave South from 5 to about 7 at 8 at South 8th Street down to South Shore through traffic, and maybe hard close it at that alleyway so they can't get down to South Shore from 4th Ave South. So if there's any concerns about that now, I would like to know that tonight because we want to finalize those plans tomorrow with the event organizers and Public Works. This is just kind of a one-time deal because of the construction. Usually they'll just come down Main all the way to South Shore Drive, so.
So they're navigating down, or west on 7th Avenue North to
North 3rd by that old chiropractor, One Vision office there. It's kind of that weird left-hand turn there to get onto North 3rd Street, then to 4th Ave
Okay.
North, and then down to North Shore.
So the old Chapel Clinic for the old timers that are in the crowd here. Okay.
Talked about going down to Buddy Holly, but we're gonna try to end the cruise at the Surf. And we didn't want to back traffic up at that stop sign there, back up to 18. So we want to get them into the downtown to get them onto South Shore as soon as possible. So we have kind of a limited staff on our side of it, but they have some volunteers we want to kind of play strategically along the route. So if that's okay with you, I'll just proceed with those plans. I have talked to Scott and the mayor about a little bit of that, so.
Okay, so you're going from 4th to North Shore?
North 3rd.
7th Ave North to North 3rd Street,
Yeah,
North 3rd Street to 4th Ave North, down to North Shore, and then around to South
okay,
Shore.
so you're not going
You're
to,
not going to Lakeview then?
We wanted to avoid that neighborhood, because they have to hard stop there at 1st Ave North, and with people crossing, and then you still have vehicle traffic going both ways there, so we wanted to get them on to 1st Ave North quicker, and then so they can make that U and get onto South Shore Drive. And we were gonna block off North Lakeview there at that one residence there to 1st Ave North, so you couldn't get all the way down there, so.
so you might can offer
Probably
tea
gonna
and
get a big
crumpets.
master.
to-
Sounds like I can sit on my front porch and watch it go by then.
Correct.
Don't throw water balloons in.
So, and if there's any other questions with that, I'll just say, we had officers working Ragbri here in Mason City and in Charles City, so I do want to thank all the officers that helped out. Mason City has helped us out immensely with our events over here when we have Ragbri, so we wanted to return the favor. And then just finally, siren test is tomorrow at 10 a.m., so that will just conclude that, so. And again, I would remind the council that our budget for vehicles is a lot cheaper than the fire department's budget is. 2 years of Latin at Dowling High School. And
Nice, yes, I had a full 2 years, then they abandoned the program.
And give street numbers on that too.
I'll ask Jason to put a bigger map up on the board sometimes, we can just go point to it.
Any questions for Chief? Further questions? Thanks, Chief, appreciate it. Public Works Director's Report, Jeremy Kornberg. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. A couple items on here are the Main Avenue Street Construction Project was down there today. They have water main and sanitary sewer main completed from 14th all the way through 12th. They have plans to charge that water main, I think, this week. Once they get that charged, then they'll be able to go back and start all the house services. So they'll be doing the house services for water and sanitary sewer at the same time. So once they get that water main charged and approved, they'll go back and start tying in all those, because they got to do the water services live. And because of the locations of the water and the sewer, they want to do them together. So once that's all ready, they'll go back and start doing that. While they're waiting for that water main to be approved and ready to go, they're going to do some of the storm sewer there from that 12th intersection and get started on that. And then they'll probably be looking at moving on a little bit further and continuing on down the road. So, the only other update I have is 12th Avenue South. They completed, Heartland was in there today and was able to complete that patchwork down there. So we got that all cleaned up and ready. So, turned out pretty good, and hopefully it holds up. Every spring's different, so let's see how each one goes. So, other than that, it's just, I would like to say, investing in equipment like the fire department's new apparatus. I know we just invested in a very nice, expensive sewer truck recently, and we talk about all the different things that those pieces of equipment help us do. We were pretty much able to complete we're almost done with our sanitary sewer cleaning for this year. We do about 1/3 of the town every year. We were able to increase our linear foot of cleaning. With the old truck, a 1,200-foot day would be good. We were able to get, on a really good day, we can get almost 4,000 feet done with the truck now. So just water capacity, power of the truck, all those things just make life easier. So we'd just like to thank you for investing in stuff like that for us. Makes the job a lot easier and trying to get a lot of other things done. So other than that, any questions?
And you're fixing the speed bumps in my neighborhood.
About that this
Been there
week.
for 20 years.
So, I mean, I wish we could do more down there, but we're gonna focus just on those two on that little section. I know we broke a plow blade last year on one of those, and then the other one's, there's a storm sewer that runs in there, and we're gonna get that cord out and see if there's anything wrong with the storm sewer, because it's settling and breaking around that pretty well. So the rest of the road not much I can do in some of those areas, because it's kind of, but those two we can take care of pretty well.
We call it the Appian Way.
You'll probably get cars driving faster through there, but
It probably needs a complete rebuild, which would be a nice assessment project for the homeowners.
They started that Latin, now the mayor's going with ancient Rome there. Huh?
Oh, Michael.
I will say 12th Avenue looked great, so thank you, Jeremy. That looked great today. I went by there several times today, so that was nice for that neighborhood.
yeah, they got in there and knocked it out pretty quick. So.
Yeah, looks good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Director of Finance Administrative Services Report, Creighton Schmidt. Welcome again, Creighton.
Thank you. The first item here is on the appointment of representatives to the Joint Planning Committee for our comprehensive plan. Again, that plan will be over the period of the next 12 to 18 months. This is a committee that we're asking to show up to all those meetings, be a major player as we complete this project. And happy to say we had some good interest there to fill these 3 positions. The first one is to be selected from the Planning and Zoning Committee, and we had great interest there. I am recommending that Mark Bali, who is the current chairman of the Planning and Zoning Committee, be selected from Planning and Zoning. There were also Brian Fodrell and Kurt Kraft were also interested. For City Council, we had Bennett Smith express interest, and for the citizen, Stacy Dawn with the Chamber of Commerce.
So do you want to odd from us.
Yep, just looking for
We need
approval on
a
that one.
motion, probably. Let's have a motion that we accept Creighton's recommendation of Mark Bolly representing P and Z, Bennett Smith representing the council, and Stacy Dawn representing the citizens of our community to serve on the comprehensive plan update project. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Mike, that we approve the recommendation of Creighton with regard to Mark Molly, Bennett Smith, and Stacy Dawn. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. You've got one more, right?
One more, yes. This is on the hotel project that we're looking at for the Surf District. So again, in that Surf District project, we're looking to apply for a Destination Iowa grant, specifically in the creative placemaking. And the hotel would really be the signature project for that grant. I told Scott after reading through this review that since I have my hotel background, I could probably spend the next 2 hours
So let's do about 5 minutes.
giving you the details here, but 5 minutes. We'll go for the 5-minute version. But really, an exciting signature project here. This study really looks at the market feasibility for a 60-room boutique-style hotel in the Surf District area. In this report, it has it located adjacent to the Surf Ballroom. That's the main place we've looked at. It is right next there to the ballroom, but maybe somewhere else in that parking area. But that's where the hotel would be located. The boutique-style hotel is a segment of hotels that has been growing very quickly over the last few years, and it's a segment that really plays to what the customers have been wanting over the last few years, and that's more experiences in your hotel stay and experiences that bring in elements of the culture where the hotel is located, that bring in things like the Surf Ballroom, that bring in the music history. So this is a really cool project when we're talking about creative placemaking and creative placemaking to our current Surf District. And of course, there's going to be other elements of this project. It's not just the hotel, which this is obviously the signature project down there, but there will be many things, again, public and private investment that we often like to highlight. In this feasibility study, they go through all the way from what the occupancies will be for the next few years. They talk about the average daily rates and then forecast out even the total operating expenditures, where that leaves them for profit, the amount of money left over for debt service. And so from here, you would take this, the bank would also look at it, see what type of loan would be appropriate for this type of project. One thing that had come up is, I think initially the hotel room count was more in the 40 to 50 room range, and I think there's many that still believe that that's the appropriate amount. I think Patek Hospitality here had put together 60. A couple of reasons for that are just efficiencies, economies of scale, and when we talk about brands that might be interested, when we talk about having maybe a management company come in and run it, drawing some more interest there with a 60-room over a 45 or 40-room, but we could work within those numbers. One of the things this opens up is what year the hotel would kind of reach stabilization. That would be after like a 3-year period, and what they had looked at is an occupancy of around 64% annually and an ADR, I believe, of $187.50. So a hotel like this really can command the rates for the market because it is unique. It is an upscale hotel. They would be able to be the rate leader in the market. And of course, where it's positioned, what we are as Clear Lake would be allow for many leisure guests to utilize the hotel. The events that are going on at the Surf District, or at the Surf Ballroom, those guests would be staying at this hotel. So really an exciting project. When you look through the occupancies, ADRs, where it leaves you for debt service. It's definitely a viable project. The market can definitely support it. Also, a lot of this talks about 2020 to 2022, and all those years are really a rebound for the hotel after the pandemic. So you started in 2020 where it really dropped off, and then you're rebounding. So a lot of this, it helps to go back to 2019, which was prior to that, great growth for the hotel industry, which she does in here very well. One thing that's very interesting, as Scott was pointing out, over those last few years, although there's been a big decline industry-wide, the hotels that have done the best are the hotels that have more of the leisure guests. It's been the business traveler and group business that's really declined, while leisure travel has continued to remain strong, especially after those first few months of the pandemic. So in places like Florida, South Carolina, those vacation destinations, the hotels have done really well. And also, as in Clear Lake, we've noticed over the last few years, we've continued to grow our hotel-motel tax and believe that that would continue over the next few years and continue to hit record numbers year after year. So very exciting project here and a great signature project for the creative placemaking for the Destination Iowa grant.
Questions for Creighton?
Just real quick, Mayor. Creighton, I just want to thank you for doing the analysis on this project. I know you and I have had several conversations as we've been in meetings and different things on this project, and just really appreciate the expertise that you bring to it and what Scott has brought to it. Really helps us, I think, as a council and as a community to feel comfortable with these projects. And so, again, I really appreciate the work that you guys do on that. It makes our role, I think, a lot easier. And so from your perspective, it sounds like the study came back fully feasible, we're good to go. Whether it's 45 rooms or 50, you know, it's very much a doable project.
Right, from this perspective, yes.
Yeah. So, thank you very much.
Is this the type of information that should be very helpful in landing this grant?
It's imperative to that.
Yeah, okay. And one other slight comment, don't get any ideas about jumping ship and managing that dog.
He might need to be our backup plan.
I was just going to mention just a couple things real quick on it. You know, 2 words in reading, as Creighton was mentioned in Paytech's study. Of course, they did the study that led to the Marriott Fairfield project for us that is only after McKesson, our second highest valued property for tax purposes in the community at over $8 million taxable. So it was a nice hit and great project with the meeting center and everything out there. But 2 words, you know, a lot of words in this, but 2 words I was telling Creighton earlier that kind of left me with an impression of this market were intimate and idiosyncratic. You know, intimate in terms of the atmosphere that these boutique style, soft kind of hotel brands leave the visitor with, and idiosyncratic in that they're really particularized to a community and an experience that is unique. And so definitely a theme for this boutique style hotel related to music would be that level of intimacy and a level of idiosyncratic experience here. So I think that was significant. There were some comparative samples that she had examined, a subset of boutique style hotels in other communities. Obviously, the Park Inn would be the nearest at a smaller scale at 27 rooms, but one that I was particularly intrigued by was, I compare us to this community all the time, is Grinnell. That is, I think, our most comparable community to Clear Lake. We have a lake, they have a college, you know, but everything about them is very, very comparable to us. And they did a boutique style hotel called the Hotel Grinnell there, and you know, it's just a neat project, and I've kind of done some research on that. But I'm optimistic that things are headed in a good direction here. So,
and keep in mind that this connected right by, next door to the Surf Museum, Cultural Museum and Ballroom, which is now a national landmark. You know, this is going to set that off as well. You know, there's only 25 in Iowa, and this is one of them. So how lucky we are to have that. Now, whole area is kind of our entertainment district. If we're looking at a place-making grant where people will come back and stay, and I think this has got a wonderful chance. Again, Scott, another public-private partnership here that we're working very, very well together with lots of people on this. So, you know, an excellent project for this community, this area. Really, very well.
Thank you.
Thanks. Under Mayor's report, Stacy and Chad are not here tonight, but I just want to say last Thursday night, if any of you were downtown Thursdays on Main, obviously, but the Des Moines Ballet, good heavens, I've gone to enough dancing things, I don't need any more, but I did see that group come to town that night, and they put on quite a show connected with STEM. What is it? Science, technology, engineering, and math? Yep. I think that's all there, but they, you know, they had the planetarium at the, all set up in the Art Center. They had something else going outside the VFW for young kids and so on. They did a wonderful job in bringing that group in, and I said, I don't know if Stacy brought them in or Chamber brought them in, but they were here, but they need to come back again. That was really well attended by a lot of people at that time. The art sale last Saturday, I believe, I think was the first time they've done that in over 2 years because of COVID. And that's kind of a renewal of that again. It will come back and get better and better. And also this past weekend, the X-Boats, there were 96 XLYF, I don't know what all those letters are, but there were a lot of X-Boats, and you know, take 2 kids per boat. You've got a skipper, you've got a crew, and now recently down there, they've got those cute little boats that they're sailing now. It's been quite a weekend for sailing here. You see cars from Michigan, from Wisconsin, I saw North Dakota, upper Minnesota, you name it, they all came to town and stayed here for several days. And I think they had one of the hotels taken, so great deal, really. Mr. Flory.
Just real quick, Mayor, Council, I'll update you a couple items. Of course, the Urban Renewal Plan Amendment, that was also on the agenda. So Mr. Volley had a full docket that you had sent him for the last meeting. So we had 3 items from the council there. One was the Urban Renewal Plan update and amendment. We've got a series of projects there. We're going through that process. So your public hearing is at the next council meeting on that particular item. And again, that involves the economic development projects involving the Serta Simmons campus redevelopment, Pritchard's companies. Then today I also with one of the, out by the Marriott, we're able to get the deal done on that project south of the Marriott for a new business coming in there as well. Mm-hmm. So going to be very positive relationship, symbiotic there with the hotel. So that's great, and a couple other things were included in that, but that'll be on your docket for the next meeting. And then also at the next meeting, we'll have the, set the date for the bid letting on the South 15th Street Inclusive Park and Playground project. So excited to see how those numbers come in. Obviously, probably going to only be doing things like utility work, site work yet this fall, and kind of get into the heavier items next year. So, see how the environment is for bidding when it's put out a ways. So.
Questions for Scott? Class car cruise on Friday night and car show on Saturday. Enjoy, be careful. Any other business, council? Yep.
I notified last week that ISO or Veristack will be in town sometime this month to do our re-rating for our fire protection class. The anticipation is we'll drop another class. Therefore, the insurance premiums for residential property should improve based on that rating.
And we're currently at 5 to go to 4? 4 to go 3? I think you told me one time, Chief, but that'd be the only volunteer class 3 in the state, or? Okay.
We have only 2 class 1 departments in the state, and they're both career departments. Mason City currently is a class 3 for us to be a class 3 volunteer staffing, that's pretty good. And a commentary on the equipment purchases and the work these guys have been doing on going to calls and doing training. I just want to make sure that you're aware that they will be here.
Cool.
They're going to contact the office as well as water department. They'll meet with the staff and look at.
That's great news, Doug. Yeah, thanks.